ای که داری سیر گلزار شهادت در خیال بایدت از شوق زد چون سبزه بر سر تیغ را موج طوفان میزند جویی به دریا متصل موج طوفان میزند جویی به دریا متصل جوهر دیگر بود در دست حیدر تیغ را جوهر دیگر بود در دست حیدر تیغ را ای که داری سیر گلزار شهادت در خیال بایدت از شوق زد چون سبزه بر سر تیغ را. Now there is shahadat and ghaib. There are two alams, two worlds. One that we can witness and see and experience, and beyond that limit of ours, beyond the comfort zone, beyond the understood, what we don't know, what is unknown to, unseen, unexperienced, is ghaib. So if you wish to witness the truth and the way things are, then باید از شوق زد. شوق به مو حالتی بیخودی در عالم شوق تیغ را بر سر زنی مثل سبزه وری که میتر as this. Oh, there's more garden. Oh, one leaf, one sabza. When it's growing, as shawq growing up and up and up and up, and oh, you can see a lot of other flowers and garden and birds and insects and bees and etc. If you wish to see, then you must penetrate your own self like a tigh. چون سبزه تیغ را باید سرخ کش کنی از منی خود خبور شنی. You see a lot more than that you are. And موج طوفان میزند. It says like a tsunami comes along. جویی به دریا متصل. It's a stream, it's a river, but it's connected with the ocean. If the ocean hits from there, then this whole river will flood. جوهر دیگر بود در دست حیدر تیغ را. With this tigh and its introduction with Bedil, we welcome you to the chapter 38 of A Vizier's Daughter, a tale of the Hazara War, 1891 onwards, the Hazara Pioneers Library, because that is the name and the station we connect following the genocide that happens after the Hazara War, after the fall of the Hazaras against the Amir of Kabul, the Iron Amir, who wanted to have a unified Afghanistan, for which he had to sign many contracts with the British Raj in India at that time. The consequence is still there. Yes, no, Sago? You agree with that? Let's move to chapter 38 and find out that how Gul Begum was wanted at last. Finally, Nali Gul Begum Dakara, Dazi Musibat, the Temi Musibat, how is she going to sort this out? That is a story for all of you, hopefully sitting with your families and watching it wherever within the Hazara communities around the world you may be. It's for Panyat purposes. Gulbegum sat by the window again, but this time she was not listless. Her whole attitude denoted alertness. She was listening for her master's footsteps. Muntaziri agabud. Would he return at all? امروز قضیه طوفان کی رفت من درباری چی رقم خواهد شده باشه. And if so, what next? She had been and heard enough to know the danger he was in. She felt certain that if it were not already too late, something must be done at once. If that life that was so dear to her was to be saved. Chief Secretary must be saved. This is Gulbegum's duty. It was 3 hours since the Chief Secretary had left his house. And during those 3 hours, her brain had been hard at work continually. Contriving, plotting. Already she had laid her plans and had commenced her preparations. Ready. What needs to be done? She had had a long conversation with Sardaro. Had worked upon her feelings and had persuaded her to coax their master to let her go and see her mother. Sardaro, dilchir bigar بس بگید باید مرا آغار راضی کنی که مرا از اولی برو بیله که ما برم مادر قربین کرنم ضروری کاره خیلی ضروریه. She had had a bad dream. چرا؟ بسیار دیشب بد خواب دیدم ترس خوردم and could not rest. She said she felt that some misfortune was coming to their family and that she must see her mother. We will send for your mother to come here. Nothing is simpler. The old woman had said sympathetically. She had the greatest faith in dreams and presentiments. And moreover, she liked Gulbegum. In a way, and would have been glad to have done a good turn for one who was in such favor with their master. That is just what I don't want even to suggest to Agha. The girl had pleaded anxiously. I must go to her. I want to find out by my own observation to whom she is talking and of whom she is making a confidant. I can only do that by going to the house myself. I believe she is talking too much and imprudently. Sadaro, do help me. I will do anything you like if you will help me in this. You can coax Agha. I really don't see how it is to be managed, the older woman had replied nervously but rather flattered. She did not know she was thought to have so much influence. Agha will never listen and will only think me a fool for my pains and you something worse perhaps for wishing to go out. You had much better let me send for your mother to come here. You can question her closely and without her suspecting your object. then you will not help me. Jose, komak naku. The girl said, genuine trouble visible in every feature. I am indeed friendless. If I were only rich, I would offer you anything to do this for me. This one little thing, as it is, I have nothing worthy of your acceptance. I can only suggest a little gift though. A present so small that it is hardly worthy of your consideration. You know that gold embroidered shirt front that I was making for Agha, remember? Well, he says he prefers Farangi or foreign made shirts and does not want it. Gulzari Jaga گفت آقا گفت ما از اینا خوش ندارم استکاری بودو افغانی گفت ما خارجی مبشم گفت او محترم در کار نیه I was going to have made it into a پیران for myself گفت می در پیران خود دیم جاگه زیره I shall be proud to see you wear it. I would much rather you accept it. Sardaro, indeed I would. So intent was the girl in getting what she wanted, so sure was she that events were about to occur which would prevent her from ever wanting her gold embroidery more. دو حالتی اضطرار گفته میتونی یعنی اونمو نکته شوق بایدت از شوق زد چون سبزه بر سر تیغ را از درون تو میت پارش داره سر تو که زود چو که کار تو دراز منی سردارو برو کار پیش ببر که ما وزینج دیگه قصه شوق that the old woman was quite carried away and promised to speak to their master when he came in. قانع شد گفت خب درسته ما یک دفعه بای آقا مگم Besides, after all, Agha had called her a fool many a time. It would not hurt her much for him to do so again. And that Peran was worth having. Gulbegum had been working at it for the last 6 months. She, Sardaro, was of royal tribe, as Khandani Shahi Bud, and ought to have good things. They became her and her position. But her master was very forgetful. And as long as they were clean, seldom troubled himself as to the clothes his servants wore. Momin dazgirshi. Ek libas ek cheezi tha ki wo nangar na ki bikhi azal tere persan na makat ki tu wo libas dare lazim dare na dare. Dige ye cheeza kambud dasht kheli. I shall go and get ready so that I can start at once. Ma bayad amadashnum, if I get permission, the girl went on eagerly. Will you give me my bukra out of your store cupboard, Sardaro? Amu bukre mar bayrutu. The old woman rose and unfastened the door. Dargarwaskat Gulbegum got up from her seat by the window, took it and gave a sigh of relief when she got back to the little anteroom, where she usually sat when she had nothing special to do. She had got that much, her bukra. Without exciting suspicion, had gained 1 point. Now she must find an old suit of her master's clothes. from among those laid aside to give away. And she must let them out somehow so as to make them fit herself. It took her some time and entailed some curious-looking patches, but that mattered little in a place like Kabul. Moreover, a long, loose coat, caught in round by the waist by the usual Kabuli belt, was more easily found. Quote, the slave girl laughed to herself as she surveyed herself in her master's little mirror. Dressed in his clothes and looking well in them, I would have made a fine man. She thought, but fear of discovery made her hasten to complete her activity and cover the man's suit with the bukra she had obtained from Sardaro. Libasi mardani agara poshit, balish bukrara, awarkan, asarta pai. Some cold meat and some bread had been all rolled up into a bundle, and the few jewels she possessed were inside the breast of the coat. Agha must provide the money. And give me some of his caps. To wind a turban around, and a pistol. Now I am ready. We must fly tonight across this great plain and then over into the Hazara hills. And there I will hide him. He will need me there. He will not be able to do without me at last. And as these thoughts came to her, her eyes glowed and her cheek flushed with rapturous joy at the prospect. Then she sat down again and waited, thinking and planning still. She knew her master well, and that unless something most unusual had happened, he would be coming home full of despair, incapable of thinking out anything, and he who could influence and command thousands, could organize a state, could do nothing for himself. Pas ira gulbegum hi bayat fikr kana ki I agha koई वक्त بسیار एक नफर की मेतना मसलन एक कदर क़ुव्वत दरा की एक ममलकत इदारा का नाम खुद कुरान में इतना एक नफर लाजिम है. She had not long to wait, but the footsteps, when it fell upon her ear, was not hurried. Almost tottering as it had been last time she had entered the serai, it was the old stride and swing. Chief Secretary. Gul Begum recognized it without raising her eyes and wondered. She had not believed it possible. تعالی کی دی فکر بوده تشویش بوده که یونال کی بایا بسیار آواز باخته و بسیار پریشان نمیتر سرگردان کی چیز کار کنی گل بیگم و دو فکره و ما قرار تسلی نیکم متر باورش نمایه. Things had prospered with him at the court then. پس دشمنای خورا خوب ده حساب شی رسیده دیگه کی تر کامیاب پس مایه درو. He would believe again, as he had so often believed before, that his old luck was returning and that all would yet be well. مگه شاید دیگه رفتن نشونه دیگه، ولی پس همه چیز سر حال شده دیگه، ما برنامه ریزی فراری که داشتیم شاید او رو کنسل کنیم. He would put off this day of escape that she had been planning, put it off until one day she would sit and watch and listen for him. As she was listening and watching then, but he would never return to her more, never, never again. What are you doing dressed in that bukra? He asked, the moment his eyes lighted on her. Where do you think you're going? Agha, she said, as if by some sudden inspiration, I am ready to take you out of the country. I have planned it all. Here comes Sardaro. In Sardaro Maya, she will ask you to go and let me go visit my mother. I have no time to explain everything, only trust me and grant her request. Oh, grant it. It is your life, not mine, for which I plead. برای زندگی خودتون چی مست؟ یعنی می برنامه که مجبور کردیم سردار مایا فوراً چیزی اجازه بده بگی خوب الباره که من در خلاص کنه. It was she who commanded now. She, his slave. It was for him to obey. And the old woman entered the apartment. The younger one slipped out. قول بگم فوراً سردارو که در مایا بر مایا. Her hand upon her heart as if to still its tumultuous beating. Will he understand? And will he do as I have said? She asked herself. Sardaro was too sharp. She did not give me a chance of explaining things to him. امو وقت در مایا امو تیم درم دوی بیلک در ماخت تو راه بگم قداغ تازه هم ده تون در مایی که آقا بیل کمی بورا. He will never do it. He will want to know 1,000 reasons why he will never let me go. I'll know me Mechidtv. But she had miscalculated this time. Good fortune made Sardaro choose the most happy form of introducing her request. تسأل سردارو چه رقم گزارش من پیش آقا کی جناب آقای صاحب. Gulbegum has had a bad dream, she said, and is much upset. She thinks her mother has been gossiping and listening to gossip which is likely to produce great trouble. خیلی لیلی مگه خبر از این مبرم میره مگه و خیلی تشویشه کی باید مادر خورا ببینه. And she has begged me to ask you, Sahib, if you will let her go in her bukra quietly and unobserved. تشکی بورا تشکی باید. To see her mother. She is a good girl and steady. I feel sure that you can trust her. اعتباركن. And she is prudent. وشيارة, she will not let tongue wag over much. The chief secretary raised his eyebrows calmly. If Gulbegum seeks a favor, why does she not come to me direct and ask herself? Am I so harsh with my slaves that they do not dare to approach me? Send her to me. I must know what all this means. Is there any reason for her request I shall not be denied? Allah has found favor in the Amir's eyes today, the old woman said to herself as she left the room. خب نظرم که باز کامیاب شده درباره امروز خوشحاله. He has not been seen so reasonable and easy to deal with for many months. ماها بدخویی که دیگه چطور خوشخوی امروزی به نظرم که اونجی کارش پیش رفته دربار. He seemed disturbed when he went out this morning, as though a storm was brewing. He must have scattered his enemies and sent them flying. God bless him, for he has returned in a very different mood. Khudai shukr. Perhaps his salary has been increased. Shayad tankhaish bal rafta. Perhaps we shall get bakshish. Bazam zukam dadis mum birsa. The old woman was in a high good humor. All sorts of possibilities occurred to her with her master's return to favor. Ali magaj. Awza khub shda Ali. Agha sare hala. Gulbegum, she called out, Agha wants you. He is ready to grant your request, John. She added in a whisper, and then you will remember your promise and will let me have the Peran, won't you? By the by, is it quite finished? Tayar hastam ya na? Quite finished, Sardaro. Taqriban khalas hai diga, the girl said, smiling. You can take it now. Alis tush. It is on the shelf with my work. What cared she for gold-embroidered tunics now? She had another work before her. She was going to ride for her life and for freedom. She was going to save her master. Mission impossible. What is this all about, Gulbegum? Where are you going to and why? I do not know. I can spare you just at this moment. I have much on my mind and I may need your help. The girl's eyes glowed. Agha, you do need my help. Waqan ki komak lazim daren, and I am prepared to give it. Dar khidmat. You must fly this cold, murderous country, and today, and I am prepared to guide you. I am ready. She raised her bukra and showed the man's clothes she wore underneath. خدمات الخدمات مهم كذي مملكة وحشات وبربريات بايد جانب بيكني باي. I will go out saying that I am going to see my mother, the Bukra Morum, but I will go to the Ziyarat grave on the hill where your wife is buried. I remember the spot well, though it is years since I passed by. There I will pray to God and seek His guidance till you come. You must bring one servant with you on a horse and make him hold both yours and his outside while you go in to pray. After a few minutes, you must go back and tell him that you have heard news of great importance from an official whom you have met in the ziyarat. تازه ما یک اسکر دیگر دیدم اینجی چیزی مگه که خیلی مهم خبر ما باید پشت زبور شنوم. That you and he are going to ride to another ziyarat, further to invoke aid from the dead saint buried there. Azu gori azu murda کمک طلب کنیم که خدای مور از سر یک بسیار مسئله مهم است از مور جان مور خلاص کنه برای دعا مور فردر پیشتر ده دیگه زیارت. But that he, the servant, must hasten back into Kabul on foot. اور پیدل رهی کتو پای پیاده. And as the official will need his horse, the official چیز لازم داره اسب لازم داره. Order him then to take the best horse left in the stables and ride to Rahman. که زود بور پیاده ما اسب لازم داریم تو بور پیاده کابل از اونجا یک دانه دیگه گرفتنی از استقبال اسب دیگه بور کردنی مستقیم باید طرف Rahman رفتنی گورنر Rahman پیغام دادنی. And ask the governor if he can give you any information on some point which you advise better than I can. No one not knowing all your business. This will take the only man who knows the direction in which you have gone miles out of Kabul. and it will leave a horse for me to ride. Presently, when he is gone, I can slip out of the ziyarat, take off my buqra, and hide in among the boulders on the hillside and return as your servant to accompany you to the ziyarat. 15 miles from here. Tell whichever servant you take that tomorrow, being Friday, you will stay at the ziyarat all tonight and that he is to join you there tomorrow for midday prayers. که برو گوران پیغام برسن و بزور خبر گرفته مرد فلان زیارت ما امشب منتظر تویم صبح رسیدنی خود را زود برسن گیر چرخ داره. Bringing the governor's reply with him. به جواب نمایی منتظر باش که چیز موگه. We will then ride in a totally different direction to another ziyarat that I know of close to my country. For then should we be stopped and suspicion aroused by the conflicting account given by the servant, you can easily say that the man is stupid. And mistook the name of the ziyarat and the appointed meeting place. If we are lucky, as my heart tells me we shall be, it will be fully 36 hours before any inquiry will be made about you. The Amir will just be told that you have been spending the night in prayer at ziyarat. And he knows that of late years that has been so constant a habit with you, that though he may feel vexed, he will say nothing about it. And will not send to inquire after you. The chief secretary had listened to every word the girl had to say without interrupting her. Perhaps he did not formulate his thoughts. If he had done so, he would probably have said to himself, in answer to my prayer, جواب خو جور نکده. دمزی گبی برنامه پلانی گل بیگم ایدره و فکرش جور مشه. اگر او فکرش جور مشد و یک پاراگراف نوشته مشد و اینی رقم بود. چیف سکرتری چیز فکر نداره. In answer to my prayer, معلوم مشد دعایم قبول شده. A boy was sent to tell me of my danger, and warn me that I must fly the country. A man was sent to show me what fate would be of mine if I remained any longer here. And now a girl has been taught by the same overruling power, how my safety is to be secured and my enemies thus overthrown. Signed Mishnah Sadaro. He has himself provided me with the guide when I could not think of one myself. And a guide. And a happy. Truly, God is great. Who am I that I should set aside the warnings and the chances He has thrown in my way? Indeed, some such current must have passed through his mind, for he asked no further questions, gave his slave the necessary permissions to go out. Tell Sardaro as you pass that I have given you permission to go out, to leave, to stay the night with your mother if you're invited. He said, do not forget money and pistols and knives, she said. We may have to fight for our lives. We must be prepared. With the tir, that is a symbol of preparedness. And I think that is what connects. This you can take as a standard of the Hazara pioneers. legacy, memory, a middle ring between the genocide of the 19th century and the genocide of the 21st century. In between is the 20th century. And I hope the passion, there is a lot of course, confusion about, a lot of young people are aggressive about not having any answer, particularly to the matter of identity, an identity crisis. And there is a lot of passion to know. This tir is like the sabza is trying to come out and see for himself. But I hope a lot of shahadat, a lot of witnessing, a lot of troubles have been seen before. Now, before any further, that should be witnessed. This witness, she has been a witness through Gul Begum. The narrator is Gul Begum. She must have told the story to LILLIAS Hamilton, who was a scholar. I don't know if she was a warrior scholar or scholar warrior or not. How was she working for her own identity? A British royal household doctor, entirely important for the Queen of Victoria. Empire of the world, is trying to infiltrate and play a lot of games in the great games. So whatever that happens, that is the trouble point in 19th century. But again, now in 21st century, we are having very little to say in terms of identifying yourself. And that's why this kind of important documents, stories that can answer this question and maybe translate it into different languages and narrate it in English for international audience. उर्दू में उनको तर्जुमा किया जाए, उनके लिए प्रोग्राम बनाए जाएं, हज़ारा पायनियर्स के प्रोग्राम को उर्दू में पेश किया जाए. दुरुस्त है ना जी? हाज़िरगी की गट किया जाए उसमें. These are the kind of शौक مثل सब्ज़ा تيغ ورين متر خوش تيغ millimeter by micromillimeter is going on and on and on. As Panyad, ta Panyar regeneration. We'll catch up with you with the next final countdown of the story of a Vizier's daughter, the tale of the Hazara war. And by this weekend, we must deliver all goods, all 40 chapters to all of you out there. And thank you all for being regularly in touch with watching these episodes as Chagar is uploading them on both YouTube and Facebook, on Mechidtv's page. And those who have been commenting, thank you. Those who would like to make more comments, we welcome. And with that, we bid you farewell. Be well. Panyad. From Panyad to Panyar is our next career, probably. Thank you, Chagar.